that time again. We are back for Cone Racing League for the first round of the season. Then last race we had, it was USA for pre-season, but now it's for time for the actual thing, and we're here in Austria. And alongside me is Hedgehog.
Good evening. Hope everyone's well. It's good to be back after a bit of a break. We were saying then, weren't we? It's been a while since I commentate. It feels a little bit strange actually. It might take me a little bit of time to get used to again, but thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to pleasure to be commentating. And I always said in the past, commentary is more fun when it is raining, and we've got a bit of rain.
It was just like in Tier 4 when Tier 4 on Monday when I commentated for that league, that division, sorry, and it was raining once again. So here in qualifying we're seeing the same scenario again with the weather, and it is raining here in Austria then, so we'll be very interested to see how the drivers perform as well, because like you said, rain always provides some great action, especially if it's a wet qualifying session and a dry race, because if it's a wet quality and a dry race, some people could be out of positions depending how good they are in the rain. They could be quite bad in the rain but good in the dry, so that could level out some up the field there, but we'll see how they get on then.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like you say, I always think that when you're racing in the rain it's not as fun, but when you're sat here commentating just watching it all unfold, it can be quite exciting. Like you say, it can definitely shake things up a little bit. There's no doubt that when it rains, you know, a lot of these guys may have been practicing. I'm sure a few of them will have practiced in the wets as well, but I think I'm led to believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you can do time trials in the wets this year on this game. I may be wrong when I say that, I'm not 100% certain, but I don't think you can do time trials on wet weather this year, so that certainly has limited how much practice you can do in the wet. So yeah, like you say, it can shake things up. No doubt it will shake things up. Again, we don't know as commentators how long the wet weather's lasting for, but we'll enjoy it, and we'll see what happens.
Yes indeed, and yeah, I agree with you on that one. I agree with you on that one, because there's a fire up went for a spin coming out of turn number 6, sliding around. I saw him sliding coming out of turn number 3 when he applied the throttle. I'm on board with him right now, but I agree with you on that. You can't do time trial in the wet, so they've taken that out of the equation there, only for the dry. So if you want wet practice, you've got to go in a lobby by yourself or with other people to do wet practice. You can't even have wet setups either, so you just got to balance all the elements out to try and get the best setup for wet and dry. But here we go then, round in the final corner for Resify as he applies the throttle now. It looks a bit squirrely on traction coming out of some corners, so on his actual flying lap we'll see how he gets on as we make our way down into turn number 1, braking just between the 150 metre boards there, taking the curve on nicely. You can see the car just stepping out of him as he applied traction. If you go up the hill now towards turn number 2, you see that little chicane there introduced for MotoGP. Obviously at 2020 we had that horrific crash between Franco Morbidelli and Johan Zarco when they both crashed there, and they've changed the speed of that corner now, so you don't go flat out through there. And we're coming down into a heavy braking zone then, going into turn number 4, braking at the 100 metre board. Let's see how it takes this one. Heavy traction zone as well, downhill, has to get the throttle immediately without losing the car. Very nice through there, looks like it's planned to through there as we head down into turn number 6 where he struggled last time in his out lap, but hopefully in his flying lap he can rectify that. Yep, very nicely through there, use all the curb on the exit as well, not even a dip in a wheel onto the gravel. It's very easy to dip a wheel on the gravel, especially exceeding track limits as well, which is very tempting, and we'll see a lot of that in this race as well. As we make our way down into the penultimate corner we go, into 6th gear, just fedding the throttle, into the final corner we go, off the throttle, back on it again with a little dab of the brakes, making our way to the line, and it's going to be a 11.1 Hedgehog.
Not bad at all, and like you say, he's getting that first lap in, isn't it? The pressure's on, he's the first one on the track. It's raining as we've already covered, and it's just about getting a lap on the board. I'm sure he'll want to improve as the session progresses. Obviously, we don't know what the state of affairs is with the rain. Will it stop in 5 minutes? Will it get heavy? We don't know. So it's about getting a lap on the board and just, you know, cementing your place on the grid. And he's done that. And as you can see, Leroy's just set a time behind him, and you can see there's a big gap in between the two times. 1.6 seconds of difference at the moment, as Jeroen slots himself right in the middle of them. And so does Tony. So the laps are coming in thick and fast. I was about to say the traffic on the circuit at the moment is very heavy. Every single driver, all 20 drivers are on track at the moment, so it's a heavy circuit in terms of traffic. And Resify, I always called him Resify. Resify sits now in P4 as Sweet Crown now takes top. I mean, he takes top for 0.1 seconds, and then the Aston Martin jumps him. So as you say, the laps are flying thick and fast here, and the boys are wanting to get some laps in.
Wow, QVR Nathan now takes pole with a 10.5. Considering it's wet conditions, these times are incredibly close. That's the skill gap in this lobby in tiers. It's incredible to find 20 drivers within the same range of each other, or almost about a second could cover the top 20 we've seen in the past before as well. It's just incredible how these drivers are quite close together, and as going for a second lap on a set of wets, inters or wets, is always better than your first one, because obviously your first one you just try to figure out the track out where you can pick up the throttle, where you can't, etc. And obviously in second lap you'll build more confidence as well, as the tyres won't heat up that much. And dual beam comes up towards the line now. This might go quicker, and it is. Wow, a 10.5, and that's a few hundreds quicker than Nathan. And look at that, 10.5 between the top three. That is just incredible. We've got Sahalo now coming towards the penultimate corner. He's a few hundreds up in that middle sector. Going into the final corner we go. We saw a lot of short spin here, I think, last season. As now we're coming towards the line now, it's going to be Paul with a 10.5. Incredible.
Yeah, the times are dropping. I'm just on Bobby Pease, who is one of the four yet to set a lap. Just because we're on the penultimate corner, let's see what he can get on the board for his first lap in the Alfa Romeo. Well, he put himself, for what he's capable of, and he's going to put himself at 8th. Sort of mid-table so far for Pease, but as you said, there's not much in it. You can see the top of the pops at the moment at 10.5, and you've got someone down in 12th on a 10.9, so there's not much in it at all. He topped in 4 tenths, which again, in this weather, I'm sure the lap times will improve, but it all comes down to what's going to happen in these next 5 to 10 minutes. Are we going to get heavier rain? Is the rain going to ease off? Again, the drivers will have a bit more information than we will. We're going into it blind as commentators, of course. We ain't got a weather graphic. As nice as that would be as a commentator, a weather graphic would make our life a lot easier, but the track is chaotic at the moment. There's only one driver in the pits, that's Nathan in the Mercedes, so won't be easy for the boys. They've got to deal with the rain, but also deal with the fact that there's 18, 19 drivers on track with them, and that can be a challenge in itself. So it's about getting a lap in there, getting towards the top end if you can, and securing your place.
Yeah, there's a lot of drivers out doing different programs, some in the pit lane and some going for multiple laps on a set of inters, some doing 2 or 3 laps and some doing 1 as well, so they're confident just to do the 1 lap on a set of inter. Obviously doing more than 1 lap is better on these conditions, because obviously you have more tread on these tyres.
Spin! Sorry to interrupt, you got to spin Nathan. Was that a reset to track from Nathan there?
Admin?
But can that happen automatically? I don't know. I don't like to say. I don't want to accuse someone of resetting to track when I don't know, but on my screen, it looked like it reset to track there. I'm not too sure whether it did it automatically, I don't know. But yeah, went round turn 1 and just completely lost the car onto the grass. So that's Nathan's lap over. And that's how easy it is in the wet weather. One little slip. And that other one's gone.
No, Giroud's almost going. He's just sliding with the throttle. He's not to the back end, just wants to go out on him. He did improve in the middle sector, but he heads off into the pit lane now as he's not confident with that lap time. Then doing 3 laps as Joel Bream goes quickest with a 10.4. He's on 4 laps on those set of winter tyres. Then, so you want to fuel the car for more than a few laps around here, because the tyres will get better and better for you. The more it'll grip him more as well. So this qualifying is not any normal qualifying session here. It's all about getting those lap times in, being out there on the track all the time with the right amount of fuel load as well. Maybe putting a brand new set of inters towards the end to get the extra grip. We've got a Posh Evans now coming towards that final corner, currently down to P11 with a 10.8. A few tenths could find him in P3. Let's see what he does. It's P11 for him. Unfortunately, he did not improve. Just missed out on his personal best there for him. Resifies off the track. He hit the barrier as well, but no damage sustained to his Haas as he gets away with it. Kenny there towards the penultimate corner. I don't think he's on a proper lap time, maybe on a cool down. Pyro down in P19, not good enough for him unfortunately. Our runner-up last season is currently down in P19, and it didn't show much pace either in the pre-season. Leroy coming towards the line now with an 11.1. He would dearly love to get in the 10s, because that's where everybody else is. He's just currently outside of it, unfortunately for him, down in P20. Rain doesn't suit everybody, and Leroy has validated for the first corner already, so already on the back foot there is Leroy, but got 10 minutes left to go in the session. Anything could happen. Could it dry up towards the end? Who knows?
Who knows, indeed. Speaking of McLarens, obviously one McLaren is sitting pretty at the top. The other McLaren, Mr. Evans, mid-table. He has told me tonight, and I don't want to put the pressure on him too much, as there's Aston Martin off there as well. Not sure who that is, but Josh has told me tonight he aims for a podium. So I don't want to put the pressure on him too early, but that's his words, not mine. As the Ferrari of Sweet Crown just about takes top spot. Look at that. That's insane.
Oh, it's just incredible how close these guys can get with each other. It's just 1,000 separated Sweet Crown and Jewel Bream. And here comes Peeves towards the line. Let's see what he can do. Sausage Joe P5. Here comes Peeves. It's up into P4. Much better for Peeves. And he's only a few hundreds. He's actually hundreds away. As QVR Nathan raises the benchmark there with a 10.4 now. And look at the gap. The 10.4 first, second and third. This is just incredible from these drivers here. They can actually get so close with each other even in the wet conditions. Even though it's just a short track, it takes a lot of skill to drive around here in the wet conditions, a lot of concentration as well, and one slip up could cost hugely if you get the throttle way too early, brake too deep as well, get on the curb at the wrong time. Anything can happen in the wet conditions here, and these drivers prove to be why they're one of the best out there in Tier 1. With 7 minutes and 50 seconds left to go on the clock, can anybody try and take it away from QVR Nathan in P1?
I was going to say, these boys and the standards high as they should though. They are the best of the best out of the 5 tiers. There's 100 full-time drivers in Cone this year, and these guys are right at the top of it. So the standards are set high, the pressure's on them to set the bar. You know, these are the best of the best, aren't there? There's no one better than these boys. So let's enjoy it. But it's first race of the season, and you know, albeit the pressure possibly isn't as high as it would be sort of mid to end season when the championship's on the line. Everyone wants to get off to a good start, don't they, and put a marker down. It is only a 12-race calendar this season as well, a little bit shorter than usual. So, you know, the races matter even more this season. Every single race counts, and I'm sure each and every one of these drivers tonight want to get on a podium, get a race win, get some solid points on the board, and like I said, put a marker down for the season ahead, show everybody else what they're capable of. You know, it's a brand new game, it's a fresh start. The game's a lot different to last year. In many different ways. I felt like myself trying the game out this year. I've noticed a massive difference on controller for the ones that use controller as well. So it's a fresh start for everybody, and there's no reason why any of these boys cannot put a mark down for it. They're all Tier 1 for a reason, aren't they? So there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that all of these boys can compete for the championship. It's a wide open race in the first race of the season, no doubt about it.
Humbelele down, I agree with every word you say, but Humbelele's on a flyer. He's gone 5 tenths quick in the middle sector. He's down in P18, and those 5 tenths could put him into P3 or P2, depending if he could hook up these final 2 corners now. Humbelele coming towards the final corner. Let's see how he takes it very nicely indeed. Gets on the power with no wheel spin. Can he take Paul away? Comes across the line now. It's a 10.1, and he goes 3 tenths quicker than QVR Nathan. Absolute flyer there, and he found 3 tenths in that last sector too. Humbelele hooked it up there in the final sector and takes Paul away now. The bar has been raised once again with 5 minutes left in the session. Can anybody try and start? We've got Nathan coming towards the line now. It's a 10.4. He's improved by 300 almost on his latest flying lap in P3 then, so he needs to find 3 more tenths. Here comes Sahilo coming towards the line now. Let's see what he can do in the Aston Martin. He makes an FOL 1-2 with a 10.4, a few hundreds quicker than Nathan as well, and FOL currently leading the way with 1 and 2, but can anybody try and stop? What a gap Humbelele has put between himself and P2. Incredible there, and we're just that Aston Martin that spun coming out of turn number 8 was Julian. He was a few hundreds up in that first sector. This is where he spun. I think he slowed down actually, yeah, so he has backed off on his lap time. Anybody down there that doesn't look really in the right position? I think Pyro down in P19, Kenny down in P18 as well, with Bompier P17, 2 tenths down the first sector. It doesn't look like a flying lap. Are you back, Hedgehog? Yeah,
sorry, I was speaking, my mic was on mute. I couldn't believe that just happened. No, sorry, I was just covering the Mercedes, and again, my pronunciation of certain names isn't great, so forgive me. Is it Moller up in the Mercedes? I don't know how to pronounce that name, I do apologise, but we'll go with Moller up. Either way, they was on a flyer lap up until the penultimate corner, ran wide and invalidated. So would have been interesting to see where they would have jumped. Currently sat in P10, right in the midfield. Just shot to P11 actually. It looks like a McLaren has just. It's Evans, Mr. Evans, the man who wants a podium tonight, has put himself in that top 3 in quali. A 1:10.428 for the McLaren. It's a solid qualifying for the McLaren team so far, both sitting in that top 10, but look how many 1:10.4s there is. P2 down to P7 at the moment, all 1:10.4s. 4 minutes to go in Q1, and well, it's completely wide open. It's like leapfrog at the top of this qualifying board so far.
These drivers found a lot of grip on the circuit as well, so improving their confidence lap by lap they go. And Bompier making his way coming towards them, turn number 3. He was up, but I couldn't quite see because the view counter did get in the way. Then a bit of wheel spin on the exit of that corner, turn number 3, as we head down into turn number 4. Majority of drivers in the pit lane with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to go on the clock there. Can anybody beat Humbalele's time? He's only done 1 lap on that set of into 2, so he managed to hook it up on 1 lap old into, whereas others took about 4 or 5 laps. As you can see, multiple different running plans going on there, some doing 4 or 5 laps, 3 laps and 1 laps, including Jeroen, Posh Evans and Humbalele there. I presume they came out on a brand new set of Inters. It's like all the drivers will, in fact, because you get 3 sets of the Inter tyres to go with qualifying if it is a wet qualifying session then, so no wets needed. Reservoir doing a great job as well, not to mention him, P5. I think he's gone purple in that middle sector, he just said. 2 tenths up, and this 2 tenths could put him into P2 then. Reservoir, pressure's on him. Can he find him? No, he can't. He backed out. Why? Why did he back out there? Was there... I think he's waiting for the very last moment, I think, but he was 2 tenths up. I didn't see him make a mistake. Did you, Hedgehog?
No, I didn't, mate. I got nothing to indicate. Oh, just as I say that, there's a mistake, and it's for the Ferrari of Boompier. Again, turn 1, that seems to cut out a couple of drivers in this wet weather. Boompier at the moment, right at the bottom in P18 for 1:10.9, and he will not be improving as it stands. He's actually validated his lap, should I say, going off at turn 1. Still, a bit of a disaster in quality so far for the Ferrari driver. Didn't improve on his previous lap, was looking to go again and then lost the car at turn 1 and went off the circuit, so not the qualifying that BMK would have hoped for going into this race. There's still 2 minutes to go though, and like you say, intermediates can keep going, can't they? So yeah, he has still got time to set another lap or so, if he can get around the track, of course, due to, obviously we don't know what his scenarios with fuel doing, but you know, he's got an opportunity there to get around, hopefully and get another lap in, so we'll keep an eye on BMK as this qualifying session comes to a close and the fight for pole is still on.
LT Leroy, who's just gone 5 tenths up in the middle sector there, so can he get 5 more time in this last sector to put himself inside the top 10? Looks like a decent final corner for him. Try and keep it nice and neat on the exit. Coming towards the line, it's P10, so he gains 10 places now, and he's finally off the bottom of the timing sheets as he finds himself in P10, so confident booster for him as Pyro, last season's runner-up, is currently down there in last place then, so unexpected there. He didn't really oh, Nathan just went a bit deep into turn number 3 there. He was a few hundreds up, but might have compromised him, I think. Has he backed out of it? Yes, he has. He knows he's made a mistake. With 1 minute 16 seconds left to go on the clock, he's got that 1 more lap to try and take pole position away from Humbalele. We've got Posh Evans coming towards the end of the middle sector, 2 tenths down unfortunately for him, so he will not be improving. Sahilu there, he's got purple in the middle sector. I haven't seen what improvement he's done in that middle sector because I was too late, but we're coming towards the final corner now, and let's see, can he take pole away from Humbalele as we make our way now towards the line? What's it going to be? A 10.1! That's 500 slower from Humbalele. That is just incredible there. These drivers, Isar Kush as well, popping his ass up into P3. What a fantastic lap time there. Can we find any more surprises as we make our way towards the end of qualifying, almost with 30 seconds left to go on the clock?
Well, Sweet Crown's 2 tenths up in the Ferraris. He rounds the last corner, a little bit hesitant there as he rounded the final corner, but he is up on his time. Can the Ferrari jump up from P7? Yes, he can. A 110 dead puts him top out of absolutely nowhere. His sector 2 was perfect, absolutely perfect, and to get a 110 dead in these conditions is well, it's solid. And at the moment, he's he's on track.
Yeah,
he's on track, sector 2. So he will not be improving. It'll be a P2 at best for Humbalele. There's another change there. Was it Joe, I think, in the Alpha Tauri's also jumped Evans into P6. So Evans and Joe are done. Humbalele's done as well. Can anyone take the crown from Sweet Crown? We will see.
Yeah, I think he crashed out turn number 8, he said, on the full map then, so I might have got a bit too happy on the throttle there coming out of turn number 8, but as we now make our way for Dual Beam, 1,000's down in that middle sector there. Can he get any closer to try and beat your best as well? But Dual Beam currently occupied P10. I think he was our last week's race winner in the pre-season race as well, and he makes his way towards the penultimate corner. He was showing some promising pace back in Texas, and now making way towards the final corner. Let's see what he could do then as he makes his way towards the line. It's going to be in 10.4, puts him into P9 behind his teammate, by the way, who's currently in P8 there. P's making his way towards the final corner. 100's down in that middle sector, comes towards the line. It's a 10.1. Wow, that's 5 drivers with a 10.1. Can he get any closer? From P1 down to P20, it's 7 tenths. That is incredible, the gap there.
Yeah, I was just on board with QVR Nathan then in the Mercedes. He managed to come home with a P4, and like you say, he's one of 4. So I've got a 10.163, a 10.165 and a 10.166, which is incredible. But Nathan then, the Mercedes, really solid qualifying from him. bringing home a P4, and you can see the margins are so tight there. As you'd expect in this tier, like I said, it's wide open, and it excites you when you see it qualifying that close, because it's not, you know, yeah, Sweet Crown in the end has got the 110 dead, but you've got 4 there and a 110 one, you've got a 110 2 in there as well, you've got a couple of 110 3, it's close, and when there's 7, 8, 9, 10 drivers in close proximity, you know, it excites you for what's going to come in the race. And again, it rained throughout the whole qualifying session. It was light rain, didn't get to full wets in the end. But the boys there, they smashed it, each and every one of them. And yeah, a few were disappointed, but the standards are very, very high now, and it's set the bar for what should be hopefully a fantastic race.
Indeed it is, and we'll see then if it's going to be a wet or dry race. I don't believe the formation lap is on, because I think there's still a glitch with the formation lap.
So.
Sunday's race I had, it has a massive glitch with the formation lap. But there it is then. There's your qualifying session. Can it get any closer to that, especially in the rain as well? Sweet Crown takes pole ahead of Humbalele in P2, Sahila in P3 with Nathan P4, P's P5 ahead of Isak Kush in P6, Sausage Joe in the AlphaTauri P7, Jeroen in P8, Leroy P9, spent most of his time in P20 but finally found the lap time to hook up in inside the top 10. Posh Evans in P10 with Jewel Bream in P11 there, Reservoir P12, Yuli in P13, QVR Gary in P14, Mollerop in P15, Nathan in P16, Luke, Kenny, Bompier, and unexpectedly down in P20 is Pyro, who finished second in the championship last season then, so he's got a lot of work in his hands to try and make his way up to the field. Hopefully for his sake it's dry, because maybe he was struggling in the wet conditions, you never know.
100%. And like we said, didn't we, at the start of qualifying, that wet qualifying to dry race, it can certainly shake things up a lot. Otherwise, well done practice. You could expect, I mean, the sun's shining now, there's no chance of rain at the moment, so we are going to go from a wet quality to a dry race. Again, you never know, rain may come later, but looking at it as it stands there, the sun is beaming down on the track here in Austria, so there's no chance of rain at the moment. Like you say, it's a whole different kettle of fish qualifying in the wets in terms of driving in the dry tyres, so it should certainly shake things up. And as you mentioned there, last year's runner-up starts dead at the back, so the standards are so high this year. The fact that the lad that come runner-up last year is starting right at the back in quali. If that won't excite you, I don't know what will. But yeah, interesting strategies as well. I expect to see a couple of hard runners here, possibly some medium runners as well, maybe even some softs, who knows. But I know the hards can go the distance on this circuit, and I'm speaking from experience on Monday night when I raced. They felt quite good, the hards, and I know that a couple of the boys that I spoke to on the night, including Mr. Evans, he likes the hards round here as well. So the hards, albeit can go the distance, but they do feel quite good round Austria as well. I don't think there's too much in it between the mediums and the hard tyres, so I'm expecting quite possibly, you know, softs, mediums and hards there from the start.
Depending if there's a safety car or not towards the later stages, but there's the 5 lights there, no formation lap. Everybody's going to be high alert this time, and the lights are away then for the Austrian Grand Prix for the first race of the season. Humbalele even there with Sweet Crown. Did he hit the back of him? He looks very close to, but Sweet Crown maintains his lead. There's an Alfa Romeo in the background. That probably is Pease, who just went off the track there. There's the AlphaTauri, Red Bull, and the Haas. May go 3 abreast, but Giroud keeps that place ahead of both of them. Isak Kush might take on Sausage Joe. Down the inside he goes. There's a bit of contact in the midfield there with a Haas into the Aston Martin there. And I think the AlphaTauri getting past Giroud, who must got out of shape, could out of turn number 3 then, with IoT Leroy on high alert there. Sweet Crown has been overtaken by Humbalele. He goes down the inside into turn number 4. Now, Humbalele, he's on the medium compound tyres, so expect him to be quicker at this stage in the race in comparison to Sweet Crown, who's on the hard compound tyres, the more durable tyres. So Humbalele will be quick at this stage, and he has to use those medium compound tyres to full effect to pull away from the hard runners behind. Sweet Crown is surrounded by medium runners such as the likes of Hillu and Nathan and Sausage Joe in P6.
There's just picking down the midfield there, there's damage to the Williams of Gary. He's lost his right end plate, so it'll be a pit stop for him. He's had to brake, and he took out 4 cars. He's had to brake when around the corner, and the chain effect has wiped out none short than 4 cars. It's a huge collision, and Luke has been disqualified. That is so unfair on Luke, by the way. He's been disqualified for blocking the pit lane. I don't know what choice he had. He got wiped out. So it's awful look for the Haas. We've got a VSC due to the incident caused by Gary. Now, in defence of Gary, he's got damage to his car. He's had to brake sharper than usual going around the corner, and it's a chain effect behind him that wiped out 3 or 4 of them. Unfortunately for Luke, he's been DSQ'd for blocking the pit lane, which I think is a bit of a farce, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure what he's meant to do. He gets wiped out across the pit lane, so the game's done him over massively there. It's a massive shame for him. but it's now turned into a safety car. So we've had huge drama come the end of lap 1 there due to a Williams having minor damage, and it's caused chaos.
That is always inevitable with the white lines at the pit lane feeding into the track as well, into the penultimate corner. We saw it in Tier 4 when one of the guys there, I think it was Jay Hartnell, got caught up in an incident when one of the Aston Martins pitted as he had a broken end plate, and that caused a change effect as well. And luckily they take out 4 cars, I think it took out 2, and I think we had a virtual, but we've got a full-blown safety car now as the FIA stewards have decided to call out a safety car, rightly so, because there were 4 cars and a lot of damage to clear up as well. So safety cars came out to try and slow things down, and now we'll see what happens then afterwards. But let's see, make up the most starts then. Hobbelini's game 1, Sweet Crown's obviously lost 1 because he's on the hard compound tyres, the more durable. Joel Williams game 2, Bompier's game 5, and who's lost the most in that respect? I think it's Reservoir down in P16 then, so he's lost the most. But other than that, looks like a few drivers stayed where they started, instead of including Sahilu, Nathan Pease and Jeroen in P8. But yeah, I did see contact at turn number 3 there. I think both Aston Martins had some sort of issues going into turn number 3. In fact, I think it was both Hasses who got caught up in other people's drama, but I couldn't quite see what was going on there as I was looking everywhere to see if anybody would make contact or not. Nobody was there on the brakes like there was in Tier 4 when somebody completely forgot where the corner was and rammed into side somebody. But looks like, yeah, unfortunately for Luke there, like you said, the game not acknowledging that he's actually beached or somewhere or stranded, and he can't research a track due to the rules as well. So the game thought he was blocking the pit lane and disqualified him, but unlucky to Luke there. Hopefully he comes back stronger in the next race is coming up, and the Alfa Romeo driver there, the first one to go out incredibly as well, because I thought more drivers would be out of this race.
Yeah, it was. I mean, overall, it looked a clean start. I mean, obviously, you can't keep an eye on every single driver, can you? From what I've seen towards, midfield towards the back end of the pack, it looked like quite a clean getaway for everybody up until turn 3. As you mentioned, there was a bit of an incident involving, I think it was the Hasses, maybe even the Aston Martins as well. But it was Gary who got involved in an incident in turn 4, possibly with a McLaren. I can't be certain of that, but I think he may have been hit by a McLaren, which resulted in losing his right end plate, and obviously he's got to try and nerf the car around towards the pits. He's got to the corner before the pits, had to slam on. Not slam on, but he's actually got to obviously slower due to the damage. The boys behind him have not expected it. Chain effect that's involved 4 or 5 cars. Like you say, Luke's got the short end of the straw, unfortunately. He's blocked the pit lane and the game's disqualified him, which is out of his control. It's a bit of a blow for Luke. He'll be disappointed in that when he got caught up in it, but unfortunately the game decides and there's nothing much we can do. And we have lost a driver. It's a dramatic start to the race, but as you say, it was I thought quite a clean getaway. I wasn't watching towards the front as much. I was covering the midfield, but I didn't see much really going on in terms of sort of debris on track or damage or collisions. It looked like quite a decent first lap for the majority there.
I'm watching back the stream now, and I did notice Jeroen out of shape coming out of turn number 3. I thought he lost traction all by himself, but we did see the Aston Haas there of Isak Kush, one of the Hasses, who actually tapped the back or the side of Jeroen, and hence why it's lost 2 places towards Sausage Joe and Isak Kush there. So unfortunately for Jeroen there, getting tapped in that instant coming out of turn number 3 and loses 2 places at the expense of that. But there was more drama as well, I think, with one of the Aston Martins and the second Haas. I think the second Haas tried to squeeze down the inside. Sorry, that's Reservoir, sorry, I don't want to say that second Haas. Reservoir tried to go down the inside, but there was 2 cars already fighting, and he tried to put his nose in at turn number 3, but got pinched very quickly, and he got stranded on the curb. I don't think no damage was sustained to Reservoir. He did pit, but I think he got caught up in that instant with Gary there in P17, and those 3 made it out in one piece, thankfully, as well. But I'm not quite sure where Gary lost his own play. I'm trying to look back now because I had a helicopter cam. Oh yes, he hit the back of the Haas there at turn number 3. There's Gary there, who got unfortunately a bit of a roadblock because there was 3 cars in front of him, all on the brakes. So Gary might have got the throttle a bit too early there for his liking. So he hit the back of the Haas, unfortunately, as they tried to fight their way at the corner, and Gary had clear space and he tried to go for it, unfortunately, but picked up the throttle way too early and hit the back. And obviously afterwards it caused a chain reaction and took out 4 cars in the process, which one of them is unfortunately disqualified. Not his own fault whatsoever. I know what it's like to spin in the pit lane in the Austrian Grand Prix and get disqualified.
Am I right in saying Nathan stopped 3 times? I was reading it thinking, is that right? And I've had a look and it looks like he has stopped 3 times, Nathan, already. Unless that's a bug on my screen, but according to my screen, he's had hards, mediums, softs and now mediums. Which seems a bit doesn't seem right, but I'm going off what I can see on my screen. I don't know whether you can see the same. But yeah, he's saying that Williams has stopped 3 times, and he's currently sat 19th. Bad start, by the way, for the Williams. Obviously, we've mentioned Gary already being involved in that little bit of chaos, but Nathan's also lost three positions as well. So both Williams sat in the bottom 3 at the moment with an Alpha Tauri of Tony sandwiched in the middle of them. But yeah, I don't know if you're saying the same thing. Did you say that Nathan has pitted 3 times as well, or
yes,
is that just my...
Yes, he has, mate. I did notice...
Andy Williams' garage.
I noticed he went on the soft compound tyres a few moments ago. Now he's back on the mediums, but I look back at the screen because I was watching that instant on my phone between those guys at turn number 3. So he has gone for a piss up on the medium. Obviously, you don't want to go on the softs around here, unless it's a safety car at the very end. But it's softs are rubbish at the start of the race anyways. Here comes Helmbelede. We're about to switch up the tempo and go racing once again. Looks like Nathan's all over the back of Sahalo there, trying to catch him at the safety car restart. Maybe caught him lap him there. But Helmbelede has got a decent safety car restart. What he needs to do now is use these 2 laps before the DRS is enabled to pull away from Sweet Car, because once DRS is enabled around this track, it is very hard to get out of that DRS range. So he needs to do that, but he's not doing that on that occasion because Sweet Cloud uses the slipstream and DRS to good effect to try and claw his way back in, but he slots into P2 for now. So Walter's job is to try and stick with Helmbelede for the next 2 laps, use that DRS and try and stick with him until they make their pit stops as well, because that will benefit in the long run, being on the hard compound tyres and going on the mediums later on and have the better tyres towards the end of the race as well. Looks like everybody stayed where they started the safety car restart, so no overtakes surprisingly being made on this lap here, but we'll wait for DRS. In fact, I think both Williams are fighting, aren't they?
It was the Williams of Gary and Pyro, and a little bit of contact between the 2 of them there. No damage by the looks of it, but Gary's now under pressure from his teammate. It's been a shocking start for the Williams, as mentioned. They now both sit at the back. Tony has managed to get ahead of Gary. Can Nathan get ahead of him? That's the question. We'll keep an eye on them as they approach the final corner. Of course, no DRS as of yet, but Nathan will use some battery here and we'll try and push him. Not want to get him at turn 1, but I think Nathan's getting a little bit frustrated here. He knows that at the moment he's the quicker of the 2 Williams drivers. You can see that based off pace, and Nathan's going to lose time if he doesn't get past Gary. It could be his chance now to get past him.
I'm sorry to interrupt there, mate,
Very
but
right.
QVR Nathan overtook Sahilu. He had tried to overtake it, but outbooked himself slightly, and he hit the back of Walter. Walter's 1.1 seconds out of DRS range now. Will Nathan go for a move? He has to. He's on the medium compound tyres, and here comes Pease around the outside of Sahilu there, going into turn before we go. Sahilu on the inside, Pease on the outside, Pease on the hard compound tyres, but he has the inside line, but Sahilu will try and stick it around the outside. He does so, and there was no contact there. That was fantastic race for both of them. Nice clean respect for both as well, and Sahilu there trying to stick around the outside. He made it work despite Pease having the inside line there, but the medium's giving him the grip he needs as well in those mid-speed corners.
That's why they tier 1, isn't it? Because that's quality. To be that close together and not make contact is unbelievable. That's why they're best of the best in this league. That's why they tier 1, because that shows it in the space of what, 10-15 seconds there. Clean racing, fantastic racing, great battling towards the back. Nathan did overtake Gary, and he's now ahead of his teammate. Still sat in 18th though, with some work to do. His changes towards the front. His has made a move on the Haas, and the Haas has made a little bit of contact with his hat. Or was it Pease? Sorry, he made contact with Pease, should I say. There's a yellow flag on track as well. Is that Joe? I think it is Joe in the Alpha Tauri. He's going to drop right to the back of the pack. Not sure what happened there involving Joe. Was he the Alpha Tauri that made contact? Possibly, I'm not too sure. But there was a Haas making contact with Pease. That would have been his hat. Pease for now remains in P5 ahead of his hat, ahead of Euro, and that is the way it goes in terms of the battle for P5 at the moment. But not too sure what happened with Joe there. However, he has lost a huge number of places after possibly a collision.
I was on board with Pease. Pease, the innocent bystander in that one. I think it was Isak Kush overtaking Joe, and Joe was late to the brakes going into turn number 3. So he hit the back of Isak Kush, which inevitably hit the back of Pease, but thankfully those guys remained running. Unfortunately, Sausage Joe went for a spin down in P819 going out turn number 3. Hopefully he hasn't sustained any damage. It doesn't look like he does. It looks like he's down there in P19 still running and not in the pit lane then, so we can hang on to this DRS train, because there's a massive DRS train from first all the way down to last place. Incredible there. All 20 drivers stuck and glued to each other in this one big DRS train on different tyres as well.
Wide open, literally a wide open race so far, and everyone's in the mix, which is fantastic. You mentioned how close it is, and all 19 drivers, of course, some have had better starts than others, all 19 are in the mix. And so far, Boomke, we mentioned him in qualifying, didn't we? He had a difficult qualifying. He went off at turn 1 in the rain. Wasn't suited to the wet weather. Well, he's making the dry weather look his own at the moment. He's up 6 places in the Ferrari, and he's pushing towards that top 10. He's not far behind the Mercedes in front of him whatsoever. So a really impressive start to the race from Boomke. He's gained more places so far than any other driver. Of course, had a difficult qualifying, as mentioned. Didn't go to plan for him in the wet weather. He's put on the hards, and he's had a great start to the race. So it'll be interesting to see how many places he can gain. But at the moment, he's up 6. And he'll fancy a top 10 finish at the moment. I don't see why not. His teammates in top 3 as well. So far for Ferrari, it's been a... Although Sweetcon has lost 2 places, he's still in the top 3, and his teammates pushing up the grid himself. So not a bad race so far for the Ferraris.
Yeah, to be fair, Walter's on the hard compound tyres, so it will be difficult for him to try and get past those guys on the medias. I think QVR Nathan goes a bit deep coming out of turn number 3, but maintains his position so far. I noticed Sahila was all over the back of Walter in the high-speed corners. That's the extra grip on those medium compound tyres.
That's massive collision between Pyro and Reservoir. When I say a massive collision, Pyro's car was in the air. That's how big the collision was between the two of them. It was a Verstappen and Hamilton in... was it Monza a couple of years ago when one car was in the air? That's exactly what it reminded me of. And Tony had a good start to the race as well. Of course, he started dead last. He gained a couple of places, but a big impact there. He was ghosted on my screen though, so whether it was a connection issue possibly that impacted that collision, I'm not too sure. But Pyro now has got a lot of work to do. Last year's runner-up has had a tough start to the night in Austria. A difficult qualifying session. He's now lost the car again off the track. He's just about avoided the wall. But it's been a very difficult lap for Pyro and a difficult race so far for the AlphaTauri team that currently sit 18th and 19th.
That's a shame there for Pyro. And here comes Sahilo up the inside of Sweetcon. But there's contact in the front!
Massive.
And look at that! Nathan making contact with Humbolele late to the brakes, and Sweetcon retakes the lead of the race. And QV on Nathan there was that's a shame there.
And he's dropped from 1st to 18th. There's only now Pyro behind him. He's lost the car again, and that is huge. And there was a few incidents there at Turn 3 on Monday night in the Tier 5 race, and there's been a couple there to that already. It's becoming a very difficult turn, even for the boys in Tier 1. They're having collisions themselves, but Humbolele, such a good start to the race. And all of a sudden, we was mentioning Sweetcon a moment ago, being down in P3, he's now back at the top again. That's how quickly things can change. Is that as well? What a start for him. He's up 4, of course, albeit a little bit of luck there with the likes of Humbolele dropping down the order. But you do feel for him in there after such a good start to the race, sitting at the top, and now down in 18th. That's how quickly things can change on this game.
Yeah, all the Harvarders now, or the big guys at the front. Nathan's picked up a 3-second time, but too crucially for him, as Isak Kush did go wide out of turn number 1 there. But Sahilu's re-overtaken dual beam, and Nathan there was squeezed. Oh, I thought Jeroen there late to the brakes as the Aston Martin has overtaken the McLaren. Sahilu moves himself back up into P6. That's cost a lot because the guys on the inside had no space to go, had nowhere to go. Even Nathan, when he made contact there with Humbolele, had nowhere to go. He was still front wing to side pod there with Chapelele, and therefore he couldn't get on the throttle because he was stuck there. That's why Sweetcon at the outside line had the space, took P1 back away from him, and Pease is really struggling in these mid-speed corners here. And now Jeroen's alongside him. What a lovely move there from Jeroen. Yeah, I think Pease might have some damage on his... Yes, he does. He's losing an end plate. His right front end plate's gone.
I'll tell you something. Sorry to change subject completely. What an overtake by a Posh Evans on Leroy. They was fighting each other throughout the lap. A little bit of contact. Josh actually got pushed onto the gravel at one point, but round the outside, no contact made. Beautiful from the McLaren. And they're having a nice little race, the McLaren so far. I'll be interested now, though, because Josh's next opponent is his teammate. A penalty for Leroy, that could be costly as well. Difficult lap for Leroy, loses out to Evans, gets a penalty, and now he's got an Aston Martin wheel to wheel, and you was going to make contact with him, and oh my word. Heavy contact made there between the Aston Martin and the Alpine. Luckily, Leroy saved it, because that could have been chaos. I thought he'd lost the car and he would have gone into a wall, but a difficult lap for Leroy, a couple of places lost, and a penalty. He's got to make sure that frustration doesn't creep in now. He keeps his head, because it could be a disastrous race if that continues.
And Piers as well, he tried to find Nathan back on P4, but you can see in this middle sector, that's where he's struggling the most. He has more straight line speed now due to that lack of end plate there, so he gains more straight line speed. Lost downforce but gains speed on the straights, but Sahilo there all over the back of him. He needs to get past the Piers, who's currently hurting with no front wing whatsoever, otherwise he will lose a lot of time towards Nathan then. So he needs to get past him immediately now, using the DRS to get past and crawl his way back towards Nathan and company as well. The top 4 in their separate fights now, unless Sahilo can get this move done. Headed into turn 1 we go, up the inside, Piers is not willing to give up, and he doesn't do so. Here comes the McLaren, and here comes the second McLaren as well. Look at that, they're going almost 4 abreast on the straight there, with 3 wide with the Aston Martin Alfa Romeo, and the McLaren no contact there, and thankfully not in a spin as Sahilo's up the inside of Piers, none of them willing to back out. Posh Evans as well, sliding to the exit of turn number 3. Sahilo has DRS, I thought he did open it for 1 second there, but Piers is coming back now with his straight line speed, going up around the outside is turn number 4, and look at Sahilo there sliding on the brakes there, rear locking up as well going into turn number 4, and what a battle. Dual Bream however was P7 a few moments ago, now he's up into P5.
I don't get why Piers isn't pitting. I mean, I'm no expert by any means, but why are you not pitting? You're going to lose, you're just going to keep losing places, and he nearly put Evans in a wall as well a minute ago. Going up towards turn 3, there was contact made between the two of them, and it could have ended in tears, but I don't get why Piers is not pitting. He's all, look, he's all over the show, as he's Leroy behind, he's not even on track. It's chaos.
Yeah, it is as well. With the grid bunched up, it could be disastrous as they're all carrying more speed than Piers in the corner, so it'd be easier to hit him going into the corners as Piers does not have the downforce on the front of that car to turn in. And a few guys went wide trying to avoid each other. Posh Evans is in the pit lane there, and I think that's a scheduled stop. Here comes Isaac Kush down the inside of Sweet Cloud into turn number 1 we go. 3, sorry. I think who has DRS on board? No one does. They went on the detection point at the same time, and this is the battle for P1 then between Isak and Sweet Cloud, and Isak is up into P1 then. New race leader in this race as well. Here comes Sahilo with Dual Bream up the inside. He goes back up into P5. He goes re-overtaking the Aston Martin. He lost the place towards him, and Piers continues to drop in time there as he's frustrated other people behind as they're having to wait for Piers in the slow speed corners to well, try and get around it, of course, because he has no downforce whatsoever on that Alfa Romeo. As you can see, that the guys behind him all bunched up and frustrated there, and the penultimate corner can get very scary too with him suffering through there.
Yeah, he's effectively a safety car at a minute, Piers, and all the ones behind him are going to lose loads of time. It's a great time for Evans to pit in the McLaren, by the way, because at the moment, the cars ahead of him are bunched up. Evans has got free track now to step on the hard and get his foot down. The lad in foot can't get past Piers. He's literally a safety car at the moment, and the ones ahead of Piers are laughing because they can pull away. I don't know why Piers isn't pitting. Of course, he's a better driver than me, and he'll know the answers. But I can't weigh it up. And I mentioned Leroy, didn't I, a minute ago, about he's got to be careful, doesn't lose his head. Once again, he got caught out at turn 3, lost the car, and gets a second penalty. So Leroy at the moment having a bit of a disaster. But Piers again not going to give up the place, and there's contact between him and the Aston Martin. I think the Aston Martin of Julian has got the place, but Piers on the inside. He's going to fight back. He's got no battery whatsoever, and he's not going to let this place go without a fight. They're still making contact. I mean, I just feel at the moment with Piers, he's going to end in there you go. Why is he not pitting? He's going to cause chaos here.
Yeah, I wish Piers pitted.
I don't understand it. Like I said, I'm no expert at all. I'm not, and these boys know what they're doing. But you've got damage. You're making contact with other drivers. You know, you're not going to gain time from it. You're losing time. He's losing places for fun. I mean, I don't get. Maybe I'm missing something. I don't know. But why is he not pitting? He's going to put someone in the wall in a minute and ruin the race. Dangerous, really.
He also took out the 100 or 50 metre board. I'm not quite sure which one it was. So the guys using no assist might struggle going into turn number 6, might lose their referee points so slightly. So hopefully they still know where the turning is for that corner. Dual Bream overtakes Sahilo, and that was a good move there. But I think Sahilo has the DRS back on Dual Bream there. Those two have their own squabble for P5 and P6. Being out the train, of course, after Humbalele has also been hit as well. So that's unfortunate there for Humbalele, who got hit there. What could he have done? Unfortunately for Nathan, who was late in the brakes and tapped the back of him, just caused him to spin and caused that huge chaotic moment down at turn number 3, caused a chain effect as well, because some other driver, not only him, Humbalele lost a few places, but the likes of Sahilo as well, who lost quite a few places. And Isak Kush, the race leader, picks up a 3-second time penalty, which is big indeed.
Massive. And Piers is dropping now. Leroy's got past him. Joe's got past him. Razifi will be open to get past him as well. You've got to be careful though. We've already seen a big incident on this part of the track on lap 1. And you can see there that Leroy's pulled into the pits, but Pease is determined to stay out despite the damage to his car. You can see that Jules Beam's pitting, Nathan's pitting, Leroy's pitting. Pease isn't pitting, he remains on track. I get that he's on the hard, so he doesn't want to pit just yet. But he's losing that much time. I mean, to me it seems chaos. But look at the front now, look at these four, look at the front three going at it now.
Yeah, Isak Kush went wide out of turn number 3, which has allowed Giroud Visser to sneak up the inside, and he might get 2 for 1, you know, coming up the inside of Sweetcrown. These two have always had a great battle in the past as well, may have been in contact as well, but these two at the start of the race in Brazil, when they all four from came with each other, I think it was Choye, Sweetcrown, Shazoo Aurelien, and those two in front. Bompier has gone past, but he had to give it back maybe because he's slowing down. He might have overtaken off the track, you know, and Gari's come through, and now he's losing the place to the other Williams. What's he doing? He's slowing down!
Oh, he's slowing back on! Don't think Joe got damaged, did he? He just about escaped it, but yeah, Nathan and was it Nathan and Boompier? Who was it who Nathan was battling? I think it was Boompier. And in the mix of it all, Gary got 2 for 1 and said thank you. So Nathan's hard work to get past his teammate has gone out the window because now he's behind him again. So Gary will be over the moon with that. And fair play to him, he waited his turn, he let him have his battle, sat behind, waited for his moment, and he saw an opportunity and he took it. And Williams, albeit haven't pitted yet, apart from Nathan that pitted earlier on, a nice little race now after a difficult start. You know, they've put themselves back into the top 6, they're going on quite nicely, and a difficult first lap. Can Nathan now get past his team? I've already seen these two go at it once already. Nathan's got DRS here, Gary hasn't. We could potentially see an overtake here, albeit I don't think it'll happen on this straight. No, it will not. Gary will remain ahead of Nathan for now. And Boompier, keep forgetting about Boompier, albeit hasn't pitted yet himself, but gaining places. Boompier, a really good start to the race after a difficult qualifying session. So I'm intrigued to see these three do battle here, the two Williams and the Ferrari, because so far they've been going about the business very nicely. And Pease and Mazzifi are still going at it here. But Pease still not fitted. Pease is still going with one end plate here. And hasn't pulled into the pits just yet. Speaking of pits, the Aston Martin of Julian gone in? Yes, he has.
So that's quite crucial now for Giroud to get past it was Posh Evans, because he came out of the pit lane, he was side by side with Posh Evans, he backed out of it coming out of turn number 3 to get the DRS on the detection point, and quite tactically got him past him as well. So that's crucial for him to get past and not being stuck behind there, because he needs to use these fresh tyres in his advantage to try and do the undercut on Isak Kush and Sweetcrown. These two as well can't afford to fight too much now, because you know the undercut from Giroud now, I think it'll be inevitable anyways, because those old new mediums versus old hards, very easy to undercut there as Nathan gets past Hubbalele as well. 4P8 Hubbalele, 90 lap on medium compound tyres, hasn't pitted out all the medium runners as well, so going very long, maybe he thinks he's got nothing to lose, and therefore if a safety car might come out, that'll be his advantage. So maybe playing that game as well, because who's leading this race unfortunately got wiped out by Nathan, and ever since then just playing his own game really in P8. But those medium tyres are dropping off the cliff now. I think our race leaders are in the pits, but did I see Hubbalele spin? Oh, he saved it there, and now he's going to be attacked from Giroud behind, and Giroud there, that's crucial for him to get past Hubbalele now, so doesn't get hauled up behind and can try and do the undercut on Isak Kush, because Sweetcrown has decided to stay out there for an extra lap or two.
Yeah, one of the Williams is pitted now in Nathan, so that will separate them a little bit. It'll be interesting to see what happens now with the Williams, and Nathan coming in and Gary staying out. He'll be the favourite out of the two of them there. But it's wide open. You know, this race seems to have flown by to that lap 1 safety car. 15 laps to go, and at the moment it's still wide open. You've got new mediums, old hards, old mediums, fresh medium. It's an interesting battle now to conclude this race, and 15 laps will fly by around Austria. Of course, it's one of the shortest. Dirks and Pease. Difficult night for Pease, and that will not help if we get a penalty. Pyro's also left the session as well, so he'll be ghosted on track. I'll try and invite him back. Whether he's disconnected, I'm not too sure. But no, wide open so far, and we still feel that there's one big twist to come in this race. Whether it's a safety car, we'll have to wait and see. But wide open here. Evans makes a move on Hubbalele. He's had a bit of a wobble there. Has he got damage? Yeah, he seems to be losing places here. Is that on him as well now? Is that going to fly past him pretty comfortably? I'm just wondering if Hubbalele got damaged. I mean, he's on old mediums, which won't help the situation at all. He's in a pit now, isn't he? So the man that was leading the race at one point now comes into the pits to get rid of the medium tyres.
Yeah, he was hoping for a safety car was humble. He's actually retired. Oh, he's given up. He realises there's no safety car, and he would join in last if he pits as well. He would down his P19 or 18, depending where power was. Nathan's up the inside, by the way, going into turn number 3 on those new medium compound, hard compound tyres. Obviously, he pitted earlier than everybody else because he was on the mediums, and up into P4, P3 he goes as well. Still carrying that 3-second time penalty. We've got XL Gary in P2 yet to pit as well, and Sweet Crown in P1 as well. So those two hard runners yet to pit. Gary's up into P2. He started down, well, he was down in P18 at one point. But here comes Nathan with the fresher hard compound tyres around the outside. No competition for Nathan whatsoever with the old hard compound tyres Gary has on his car. That was crucial for Nathan to get past so he doesn't lose too much time with the guys he's actually fighting. Pyro has joined back the session, by the way. So that's crucial now because Jerome's got a car in between himself and Jewel Beam as well, because that's what Jerome was fighting. He was currently third in that DRS straight at one point. The Sweet Crown has finally decided to pit then, so extending that gap or extending that stint on the hard compound tyres, and now he's on the medium compound tyres there, so those tyres will be very fresh towards the end. He might lose a lot of time towards Jeroen and Isak Kush, but will he gain it back with the freshness of those tyres? Here he comes now out of the pit lane in P9. The charge is on for Sweet Crown in P9 to regain that lost time he had, and Bompier has been overtaken by Jeroen now. Jeroen all over the back of the Williams. Jeroen's making good moves here, left, right and centre as well, tactical moves as well, waiting for the DRS as Kenny's teammate is overtaking Leroy. Here comes Jeroen Visser up the inside into turn 4, late to the brakes. He knows Walter's coming. He can't afford to mess around with these guys. You've got to get rid of them, dispose of them and leave them behind, because he knows the likes of Isak Kush and Sweet Crown are coming.
Yeah, you just wonder now with Boompier and Gary, they've had a good stint on them hards, but you start to feel now they're going to start dipping and potentially losing ground. Will they come into the pits and put a set of mediums on? Will they try and push for potentially a hard soft off the way and see them? We're not a million miles away from the soft tyres now, so I imagine they're possibly going to try and hold this out for a soft stint at the end. But you know, by the time that comes around, how much time will they have lost? I mean, Jewel Beam now is in the back of them. He's got much fresher hards in comparison to the two of them, so you just wonder how far Gary and Boompier can go. But they're in a very similar scenario here, both on the hards, and Boompier himself can't want to get a move on him, and he could be 2 for 1 here. Gary's going to lose two places. Will GB get them both? He's going to make a lunge into turn 3. He's gone very deep, too deep I think, and Boompier and potentially Gary will get the place back. So a little bit too overly keen there from the McLaren driver, who had them both. Late lunge, didn't work out, and has to wait behind them again now. And there's contact between Gary and Jewel Beam and Boompier. So I think it was a little bit a case of getting too excited after Jewel Beam. He's got a medium runner of his out as well behind him now as well, so this will be an interesting battle here. What is that and Jewel Beam don't want is to be stuck behind these two for much longer, because they'll lose crucial time in the battle for the win.
Jewel Beam there cost himself a lot of time trying to go up the inside, breaking too deep there. He could have overtaken Gary there. Bompier in the pit lane, that's the type pit lane as we've always seen. Jewel Beam could have overtaken Gary, then wait for the DRS on Bompier, but he broke too late. And here comes Isak Kush. Wow, powering past the Williams and McLaren there, as he took 2 of them on. Jewel Beam would not be happy with that one. He'd be hoping to do the same thing about 2 laps to go, but went too deep in the braking zone. He lost too much time lingering about with this battle. Now he's back with Sahilu. He was fighting a few laps ago, so that move cost him hugely now, because instead of going forwards, he's actually gone backwards in the process and still stuck behind QVR Gary, sorry, for good measure too. We'll get Gary having the DRS on Jewel Beam on the back of Isak Kush, sorry, but Jewel Beam has the inside line with fresher tyres, should make this stick, and Sahilu will be looking to do the same thing as well. Not get stuck behind the old guys, tangled up with them, and lose time to your actual rivals you're racing as well. Jewel Beam unfortunately just lost himself a lot of time there, trying to make an audacious move on the Williams and Ferrari, but wasn't happening. And I think Gary might have to respond now to Bompier's pit stop, because Bompier's on the soft compound tyre down in P17. That's how much time he's lost. And here comes Sahilu up the inside with Gary. Gary there might want to pit, you know. You never know if he wants to pit or not, but he couldn't take that inside line, so might have to stay there for one more lap or so, because he's fighting with Bompier at the moment. Here comes, and Nathan too. Here comes Sweet Crown. Up into P6 he goes, and now this will get very interesting now. Sweet Crown on the freshest tyres of them all. except Bompio, of course, as Julbeam picks up a 3-second time penalty. Here comes Sahilu on Julbeam, by the way, as they go side by side up the hill into turn number 3, and Sahilu makes the move now on Julbeam. The top 4 have got penalties, and Mollerup spun coming out of turn number 1 there. What's happened to him? He just cut the corner 2. I don't know if he made contact with anybody or not, but unfortunately he's lost a lot of time. Here comes Sweet Clown on Julbeam, going side by side now with the freshness of those medium compound tyres, using them to good effect up the inside now of Julbeam. Posh Evans has overtaken QVR Gary, sorry, and he moves himself up into P7. He goes now. So Sweet Clown's next target is Sahilu, and then the top battle for the top 3 commences between those two. Drew, however, is now starting to close on QVR Nathan with those medium compound tyres he has attached to his car there, so that'll be a very interesting battle for P1. But bearing in mind though, they have got penalties as well, so Sweet Clown could be in a better position here if he gets past Sahilu on the hard tyres and makes his way up and try and close in on that 3-second gap with the help of those fresher medium compound tyres.
Yeah, I think Sahilu's in a good spot here, and a late safety car puts him in a golden position with the penalties around him. There's still 9 laps to go, still plenty of time penalties to get picked up. Sweet Crown here might want to make a lunge on him. He does. These two are not in a bad spot though. There's penalties around them. Sweet Crown on the fresher mediums will be quick in the latter stages of this race. His teammate Boompier did pick for the soft, but I had a feeling he might have done the hard soft. But then I think he had an incident with Mollerup because they both got a penalty at very similar times, so he kind of shot himself in the foot there, Boompier. However, him and Mollerup are going to go at it again here. Mercedes v Ferrari. Boompier does make the move stick. Gary still hasn't pitted. I think he was right. I think he wanted to pit last lap, but after what happened on lap 1, I think he thought, I'm not having that happen again. I had bad luck on lap 1 and took 4 cars out. I'm not going to let it happen again, so I think he thought better of it, and fair play to him, but I think he's going to have to pit Gary because he's going to lose a hell of a lot of time now. Them hards will feel very sluggish. And he can get soft to the end now as well, so I'd imagine Gary, if he doesn't pit now, it'll be very, very soon. Let's see if he does pit. He's going to stay out, so Gary not wanting to pit just yet. So but I'd imagine very, very soon now onto the soft tyre.
And here comes Shavu Vizza on the Mercedes driver. Here he comes then, takes the lead of the race now as he moves himself up into P1. Here he goes then, the first driver to pit on those hards to mediums as he goes deep into the corner. I'll talk about the top 3 by the way, before they made their pit stop onto the medium compound tyres. He was one of the first to do the undercut. And there we go, then there's the penalties I finally found. And Nathan's got a 9-second time penalty. Wow, I didn't even see him pick up any penalties, but he's picked up a lot in this race then, so he won't be a finish on the podium if he keeps that up. Nice Nathan up the inside of ILT Kenny. I think those two were teammates at one point. Now one's in the Williams and the other is in the Red Bull. In fact, I think Kenny was in the Ferrari last season along with Walter. That's correct indeed. I think it is. I think, yeah, Kenny and Sweet Clown were teammates at one point last season. But Sweet Clown then 1 second behind Isak Kush now, looking to take on the podium with the help of those medium compound tyres. The only man hasn't got a penalty, along with Sahilu, Posh Evans, Gary. A late safety car. What's Isak Kush doing there in the final corner? It just went very wide. Did you see that? Yeah,
I did see that. I was also keeping an eye on Nathan. I was just mentioning there in the Williams. Still could potentially some points here, and every point does matter. Albeit Nathan, I'm sure, will get better than a P12. Every point counts, and he may get closer to that point now because the man in front of him in the Haas has just got a penalty. And I don't think that's his first penalty either. That's now 8 seconds of penalties for the Haas of Reservoir, whatever you want to call him. And Nathan now with DRS, I think will get that move done and will get himself into the points.
Into P12 he goes, does the Williams driver, but the guy behind will have DRS because I think Reservoir crossed the detection point first. Well, Nathan is back out of it, of course. But here comes Julian on XL, on QVR, Gary up the inside into turn before he goes. He outbreaks himself but still maintains position because Gary, however, man hasn't pitted just yet, so he's definitely going for some compound tyres for sure, go for the fastest lap at the very end of this race. His battle with Bompio is potentially over now because he's lost a huge amount of time being on those hard compound tyres. And Jeroen Vizza extended track limits there coming out of turn number 9 heading into turn number 10 then, so that's going to cost him hugely if he does that any more times because that will definitely lose him the race victory. He's got 3 seconds to his name, pushing very hard indeed to try and keep Nathan behind, but Nathan's sticking with him as well. Now have the crossover point between the hards and the mediums. Kenny versus Reservoir. Reservoir's in the pits. Here comes Nathan back on Jeroen Vizza, so Jeroen Vizza's not able to shake off, and Sweet Clown up the up into P3 he goes there on the medium compound tyres, overtaking it before the corner and moves himself now up into P3 sorry. You can see the battle for P1 and P2 happening because Sweet Crown can just see him heading down into turn number 4, and obviously he's 2.4 seconds behind with no penalties and better tyres than, so Sweet Crown is in a sweet spot there with no penalties and fresher tyres, so he's going to keep it careful in the next 6 laps not to pick up a penalty, otherwise it'll be a level playing field, except Nathan who's got 9 seconds as well.
Leroy and Gary wheel-to-wheel contact made. Gary, as mentioned, now 28 laps on the hard tyre. He's losing places before he's nearly made contact with the AlphaTauri of Joe as well. It was interesting before because Gary, Nathan and Boompe were pretty much wheel-to-wheel. Gary's still ahead of Nathan and Boompe, but of course not pitted. I feel Nathan had the last lap here in terms of a pit stop strategy. He pitted before them both onto the mediums, and it'll get him points. Gary's now got a penalty. I mean, he's surely got to come into the pits and pit. He's still holding out. I don't know why. Again, I'd love to know why. I'm not an expert. He knows more than me. He's a better driver than I am. But why did he not put the softs on now? I don't know. I have no idea. Yellow flag. That's Mollerup. Is that in the pits? I think it is in the pits. So he becomes the 4th DNF of the evening. We also lost Rosifi as well in the last lap. Also DNF in the pits.
I'm also wondering why he retired in the pit lane, because he was in the points at one point and he decided to retire in the pit lane, so I'm not quite sure what's the meaning behind that one indeed. But Sweet Crown then is 1.7 seconds behind Jeroen Visser, as Sweet Crown's probably left in frustration, leaving his Haas teammate to do all the work there in P4. Isak Kush also on the medium compound tyres too, sticking with Walter, so if Isak Kush can stick with Walter, he can join this battle for P1 and P2, and Nathan and Jeroen will be under massive pressure there, as Jeroen Visser was not able to use the medium tyres to his effect because I thought he would be able to overtake him and pull away, but that's not the case, as Nathan has good pace in that Mercedes and stayed ahead for the time being. Those two constantly swapping battles, swapping positions for P1 and P2, but shortly they'll find Walter behind. Obviously Walter doesn't have to fight for P1, but he's a racer, he'll do so, and there's Jeroen Visser on the move again, up into P1 he goes. Might get the DRS, you know, off the AlphaTauris. Isak Kush has overtaken Sweet Crown then. Up into P3 he goes then. Came out of nowhere and saved a bit of battery as well. Probably used it on that straight. I think Jeroen does get DRS on the back of the AlphaTauri. Yes, he does then. So that saved him on that straight there.
Boompe and Nathan are still going at it. It's a great little battle in the midfield, this. Of course, Boompe has got a penalty which could cost him. But yeah, towards the front of the moment, you still feel this race favours Sweet Crown. Obviously without penalties, but if he was to make one mistake, penalties are easy to come by on this track. I mean, he's boys a tier 1 for a reason. You see there's a fair number of penalties at the moment, so even the best of the best can pick up penalties around this circuit. It's very easily done, especially on the final corners, so one little mistake from Sweet Crown here could cost him, but as it stands, he's the favourite to win this Grand Prix without having a penalty. I think it's Nathan that's got 9 seconds in P2, so he's in big trouble at the moment.
And he might find himself off the podium as well with all that hard work he did as well, and an investigation might be coming his way shortly as well, as Pyro picks up a penalty. He's currently in the fight for the lead behind the front runners there, as Sweet Crown has overtaken Isak Kush once again, then moves himself back up into P3. Might get DRS. There's an AlphaTauri right there. No, he doesn't get DRS. He was too far back to do so on that occasion, and QVR Nathan there just pulling out to cool the engine down on the straight. Lap 33 out of 36 then, 3 laps to go in this race. The race victory will belong to Walter if he does not pick up a penalty. That's a big if for him as well. He'll definitely overtake Nathan because he's got 9 seconds, but Jeroen will be begging that Sweet Crown picks up a 3-second time penalty one way or another. But Sweet Crown's race pace and consistency here has been very amazing from the Dutch driver, and he'll be on course to win if he keeps it clean like this.
Nice little race for McLarens as well. They've both gone about the business quite well. I know they've had a little bit of bad luck along the way, but they're both, top 7. Albeit Joby has a penalty, had a bit of bad luck earlier on, but Evans wanted a podium tonight. Not going to materialise, I don't think, bar any late drama, but he's getting 3 places, sat in P7, doing a good little job there, McLarens, and at the moment we're going to secure some decent points.
I'll tell you what, mate, if Sweet Crown picks up one more warning, that is a penalty for him. I did see him. I'm not quite sure if I saw it correctly, but he did exceed track limits or cut the corner, I think, the last lap as well, so he's going to be careful not to do that. With 2 laps left to go, he can't afford to shoot himself in the foot and throw away a race win after no penalties whatsoever, especially in the late stages. So that's Julian and Posh Evans getting too close for comfort there. And there's an AlphaTauri up the inside as well.
Yeah, it looked like Julian got the move done on Evans, but again, not the first time tonight. I've seen a very late lunge into turn 3. It didn't pay off. And Joe has capitalised. He's watching again. We've seen it a few times tonight. A couple of drivers battling, waits for his turn, and pounces. And he has pounced the AlphaTauri there. This will be a great little battle here between the three of them. Leroy all beating the penalty, not out of the mix either. So a battle here for the point finishes here for these lot. But yeah, lovely little move from Joe there, waiting his turn. Pounced on a couple of mistakes, and Julian may go for him on the inside of Josh here. It's not an easy place to go for a move. Has to hang fire for now, but I'm intrigued by this battle as we go into the last couple of laps.
Could be, it's a bit tense going side by side in the final two corners because you're prone for contact. Isak Kush, however, has got past Sweet Crown. He moves himself up into P3. Sweet Crown does not need to take any risk. There's not a chance now of taking P1 on the track. He just needs to make sure he keeps it within 3 seconds of Jeroen and Isak Kush to get himself on the podium then, as Bompio battles away with Nathan for P11 there as we head down to turn number 4 with our race leaders then, as there's 2 laps to go now. Sweet Crown can't afford to go out wide one more time, otherwise that's his chances of winning the races gone. He doesn't need to make any small. Well, it doesn't need to go out wide. Julian there has been overtaken by Posh Evans as XL Gary sets the fastest lap of the race on those soft compound tyres there, so waited all the way to the end to put on a brand new set of softs there. Ever since lap 1 he thought his race was thrown away and decided to go along and just take the fastest lap and try and see how his race pace went on the hard compound tyres. And Isak Kush, you don't know if he's lagging or actually struggling there.
I thought he'd gone. I think he has been lagging a little bit throughout the race, but I thought he'd gone then for a minute. His car had swerved to the right. But like you say, 1 lap to go, lap 36 and 36. Sweet Crown is going to overtake his that again here. And just not making any mistakes now, the Ferrari driver. The ball's in his court. Nathan and Johan are fighting. In fact, Nathan's overtook Johan, but of course has that large accumulation of penalties. So the ball is well and truly in the Ferrari's court here. And as it stands, bar any mistakes, he'll bring it home. And I'm sure there'll be frustration from both Nathan and Johan because they've had the pace tonight, but it looks like penalties are going to cost them both.
And what could it have been for the likes of Pease, Humbelele? It all happened down at turn number 3 as well, when Pease, Humbelele, Nathan and Sahilu got caught up in that incident as well, caused by Nathan. So what could it have been if those 4 other drivers got caught up in this battle as well? But Nathan's re-overtaken Giroud for P1, but he might lose a podium due to those 9 seconds here. So here comes Nathan, running off the final corner then, as he comes across the line to take P1 initially, but it will belong to Sweet Crown in P3, who wins the Austrian Grand Prix as well. What a fantastic drive from Sweet Crown as well, it must be said. Sahilu gets Nathan on the line due to penalties as well, but what a fantastic race from Sweet Crown to take P1 there in Austria ahead of this Dutchman of Jeroen Visser, as Sausage Joe does fall down the order into P9 due to penalties. Nathan gets Leroy in P10, and both Williams there, well, one of the Williams there scoring inside the top 10. I think that's points for him. Gary won't get points because he needs to finish in 12th place, but Relentless Peas makes his way now towards the line, probably going for the fastest lap of the race. Here we go then. He can't do it because it's a 4.7 from XL Gary, QVR Gary, sorry, in P15. He makes his way now towards the Puddlesburg corner. It's the final pulse. Oh, he got a penalty there at the very last moment, and he goes off the track as well and ends it probably in a spin like all drivers do when they cross the line.
I'll tell you one thing, Sausage Joe be kicking himself. He got a penalty on the last corner. Which took two places away from him. He was on for a P7, and the last gas penalty has cost him 2 places. So I'm literally the last corner of the race, and he's got himself a penalty, and it's lost him 2 positions. Did he have more penalties? Quite potentially. He may have had more than 1, but he definitely got a penalty on the last corner. I'll check now whether he had... let's have a look. No, 1 penalty, that was it. So that 1 penalty right at the end has cost him places. I mean, Josh Evans and Julian will not complain. They've got 2 places there. A nice little, I mentioned the McLarens earlier on. Nice little race from the 2 of them there, getting P6 and P7 respectively. But Sausage Joe be gutted there. 2 places lost on the final corner. But some great drives overall, like you say. They Japan next week, I believe, will go again. Well, to be fair, the most drama was on the first lap. That chaos at the end of the first lap. Other than that, it weren't too bad.
Then we saw Peas have a few, well, holding some jars
Yeah,
up.
yeah, questionable from Pease at times, but you know, we'll see what he says about that. But yeah, good race overall that, and it's set the standard for the remainder of the season.
Just waiting for Sweet Crown to join the party. Hopefully he gets the notification through. Apparently Nathan's tagging Julian saying what's happened on the first lap, so maybe Julian got caught up into the first lap.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean, I didn't see it all. It's quite possible that we missed one or two things, but from what I've seen, it was the Williams. Was it? I forgot his name now. Was it Gary in the Williams? Was it?
Yeah.
I can't remember now. But yeah, from what I've seen, it was him that had the big impact at the end of the lap. But there quite possibly was other incidents as well. But I'm sure we'll find out throughout the incidents when they come in. But yeah, I think overall it was a good race. That I think difficult qualifying in the rain, which is never easy, especially when you're going into dry weather in the race as well. And there were plenty of pace from the boys at the front. I mean, there was 6, 7, 8 drivers out that competed for the win overall throughout the race. So I think it sets us up really nice for that. I don't want to get carried away, but I think it could be wide open this season. I think in the past you've seen drivers run away with this team, and I think this season it could be very competitive. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, Walter looks like he's back on pace, and the old Walter we know as well, because last season he didn't really show much, other than one race now and then, but this season it looks like he's back, so Walter could be on charge for another championship in his bag. Obviously anybody can take this championship now, because Sweet Shizu Oril in there won the championship last season, but obviously he's not here, so anybody can take his spot now in the championship, as the defending champion is not here.
Most definitely. Do you know what, I'm intrigued now, like you said. I think it's nice when what you don't want to see is a driver dominating the first race, do you? You want to see it be quite close knit. There was 4 of them at the end that were competing for the win. Of course, penalties played a part in the end, but to see 4 of them, pretty much wheel to wheel coming on the final lap is exciting, and I think hopefully we can kick on from that now. And when you take into account as well that 2 or 3 of them had a bit of bad luck throughout the race, they were in the mix themselves, they got took out, they had incidents. I think you could easily say that there was 6, 7 drivers there that could have won that race, and that's great for competitiveness. That's what you want as a commentator, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It provides some interesting moments and entertainment for us as well, and memories, of course, to be looked at in the past as well. Plenty of things that could have been said here at the Austrian Grand Prix, especially the past as well. We had plenty of action there as well, especially last season as well. We had that 4-wide moment going up into turn number 3 between Isak Kush, Leroy, was it Orvalen, and Tony as well up into turn number 3. We had that moment where I went high pitched as well, but I don't think Sweet Card is getting the memo here, and I don't think he is joining the party, so
Doesn't want to join us. How rude. Take his win off him. Take it off him after that.
yeah.
But no, he's read the message, he's replied in the chat, and I don't think he seems keen to join, so his loss. His loss.
Makes my job a lot easier then, I can just go straight to bed.
Yeah, sounds good to me. But no, thank you for having me. Like I said, don't get me wrong, I was a little bit rusty tonight. It's going to take a while for me to get back into.
Well,
it's been a while.
If you really want an interview, then let's have him in here.
Oh, is it? No, I must have joined, have
I've already invited him. He should be joining the party now.
You're going to say they don't seem very keen to join, do they? Oh, here we go.
Well, it looks like our race winner's not keen to join, so we'll have Jeroen here instead. So, oh, he's here. Took his sweet time. So we'll get started then. We'll go to Jeroen first. Hello, you mate. How you doing?
Hello, yeah, I'm good, how are you?
Not too bad, thank you. So, how did that race go for you? Obviously, I think you started on the hard compound tires. Was it? Was it?
Yeah, I started in the hards. I think P8 or P9, I don't remember, because my qualifying wasn't too good. I just didn't manage to put any good laps, whereas the others did. So yeah, I started in the hards, and yeah, it was actually a fun race for me, but I don't know exactly what happened in front because there's some people being taken out, and yeah, I just managed to get through cleanly.
Yeah, talk down at turn number 3. When you moved up into P3, I think it was. Did you think, oh, there's a chance of winning this race now because those main guys in the mediums got taken out?
Yeah, definitely, because yeah, on this track, or especially like on this game, if you're P4, P3, anything like that, you have a shot at winning the race because you can easily pressure them with the DRS, like up into turn 3 or turn 4. Like you can fight for the win definitely.
When you went for the undercut, you had Nathan on the hard compound tyres, you in second place. Did you think you could overtake him easily and pull away? Because I thought you would do so, but you got stopped. You got caught up with the battle with him instead. So, do you think fighting with Nathan cost you the win towards Sweet Crown?
No, I wasn't. I don't know if you saw this fight, but yeah, I wasn't fighting. I was just trying to work together with him, but yeah, it frustrated me a bit. Like the first 5 laps, I think I was behind him. I was like maybe half a tenth every time with the detection point. Would have had the DRS early, I think it would have been a different race for me. But yeah, I was trying to work together with him to like take my ERS and pull away a bit from Wouter going on the new leader.
I bet you were hoping for Wilder to pick up a 3-second time penalty, weren't you, in the last stage of the race? He was close to one, you know.
I know about how many warnings he had, but yeah, of course I'm hoping for that. I was just trying to get the best result I could. So, and that point was just maximizing P2, and would Wout have got a penalty, it would be P1.
Congrats on Peter anyway, mate. Despite your struggles in qualifying, did you struggle a bit in the wet there, or did you just couldn't find a lap together?
Yeah, it's yeah, both actually. I just I've never driven in the rain actually in this game, so just trying to learn it a bit, and the braking points, the brakings, yeah, not my best session.
Well, at least you got it back in the race as well. Nice recovery drive up into P2 as well. Finish at the podium, first race of the season. How do you think the season's going to go for you, by the way?
Yeah, I'm just gonna every race I attend, I'm just going to try and win. But I'm happy Austria's out of the way.
And how do you feel for Japan next race?
Very good. I like the track, but I know there's people like Wouter who's strong there. Yeah, Nathan will be there. So yeah, it's gonna be fun.
And Hedgehog, you got any questions for Javoon?
No, not really. I think you covered most things, but just well done, mate. Good solid result in the end. Shame, like you said, the penalty cost you, but you started P8, got P2. It's not a bad start to the season, is it? And you can build on that now going into next week.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done, mate.
And the race winner, Sweet Khan. You there, mate?
Yeah, I'm here.
Took a while to get to the party, but at least you're here now. Congratulations on the win, by the way. You did a fantastic job as well, not picking up any penalties. You were close to one as well. I think near the later stage of the race, you were quite close to one. You had 1 invalidation and 2 warnings. I'm not quite sure where that came from, but how do you think your race went for you? Obviously, you won, but how did it go for you?
The pace was good, and the quality was nice first. Because I feel really comfortable in the rain on this game, so that was nice, having a bit of rain. But the race at the start was a bit dodgy, just people hitting each other, because I got hit in turn 1 at the start, and then a few laps later I got hit by Nathan as well, and that lost me the DRS, but luckily safety came out and got back into it. And from there it was just yeah, doing my pace, and I knew I was going to pit later than everyone, and hopefully my tires got back like... or I could catch up back to the pack after I pit later, and it worked out. And I just kept it safe, no penalties, and that made me win the race. So it was nice.
at the start of the race, you were on the hards, obviously. Were you a bit nervous with people on the mediums? Did you feel like you were going to fall back? Because I know in Texas, I know it's pre-season, so you might not have practiced much, but we did see you in pre-season fall backwards when you're on the hard compound tyres. Did you fear the same thing was going to happen in Austria?
Not really. I knew the straights are a bit too long to like lose the DRS. So if I just use my ERS a little bit or smart, I knew I could stay with the medium guys, even if I lost like 1 or 2 positions. But just it was all about staying with them.
Yeah, indeed, and you did a great job keeping out of trouble as well. But when you said Nathan hit you, what lap was that? Because I might not have seen it. I remember Nathan hitting the back of Hobbelele, but
it was just before the safety car, and that made me like lose the car, and it just made Chapelele get away from me, like out of this.
Oh
DRS.
yeah, now I remember. Sorry, yeah, there's a lot happening in the race. I remember now. Yeah, and when Nathan hit the back of Hombelele, you went around the outside and cleared him more. How'd you feel about that one, going up into P1?
Yeah, it was a bit interesting because I think Sihilu was on my inside, so I had like the outside line already, and I saw the contact happen. I was like, I just hoped Chapelele didn't spin to the right or came back to the left. I mean, so I got a bit lucky there because it could have been the other way around. I got wing damage or something, but just. I got lucky there, and it just made my race a bit easier.
Yeah, you did a great job as well. When you rejoined down in P9, Jeroen was further up the road. Were you ever nervous about losing the gap towards Jeroen? Did you feel like, well, you caught up to it in the end, but did you feel like traffic was going to interfere with you?
Not really. I knew Jeroen was further up the road, but I knew I had better tyres than everyone on the grid, so I was like, you know what, I'll just do easy moves, just get up the field a bit more. And then as soon as I got into the 3 seconds, it was just like avoiding getting an extra warning. But I was never in doubt of not catching you in that 3 seconds.
I know last season you were there 1 or 2 races, but not throughout the whole season, if that makes sense. But what's changed between like last season's game and this season's game? Because you're back up there immediately on the pace as well, so it's nice to see you back as well. I know you had your struggles last game.
I blame Jeroen.
I was gonna say this time I wasn't behind him, so that's why I would have
Jeroen hasn't made contact with me, and I finished the race normally, so yeah,
Let's
it was
do it more around.
yeah, that'd be a lot better.
Does
This game fits better for me, I think. Was it the new braking, where everything handling? It just fits. It feels nice for me.
I was going to ask that. Does the handling model feel better than last game's? But you've already covered that, so thank you for that. But I just want to say another congratulations, mate. You did a fantastic job today. Keeping it clean, out of trouble, and no penalties. That's what you won you the race as well. Mighty lap in qualifying too.
Yeah, thanks.
You got any questions for him, Hedge?
No, just again, well done, mate. Solid result, like you say. Perfect qualifying in the rain, perfect race in the dries. You know, you faced pretty much every weather you could have faced today, and you smashed it, so it's the perfect start for you, and hopefully you can build on it in Japan. But at the minute, I don't want to put pressure on you, but you're the firm favourite now after that first race, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm winning the championship, it's done now.
Oh, there we go, look at that. Straight in there, get it done. No, happy days. No, well done, mate. Good luck next week.
Yeah, thanks.
Good luck.
Love the confidence. Love the confidence, though.
Hedge, mate, thanks for joining me in Colin. It's been a pleasure to have you.
No, thank you very much for having me, mate. Like I said, I was a little bit rusty tonight. I weren't at my best, but it's been a while, so hopefully next week I'll be a bit smoother. But no, thank you for having me. Look forward to Japan next week. Do it all again and see what happens there.
Indeed, and join me back next Monday for Tier 4 for the Japanese Grand Prix and Tier 1 for the Japanese Grand Prix 2 next Thursday. See you all later. Have a good weekend. Enjoy Spa.